Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. It's the Cryptid Huntress. I'm Jessica Jones. Welcome into our Monday show over here on the Cryptid Huntress channel. My goodness, do we have much to discuss today? There's a lot going on in this world, and I did wake up to some interesting social media posts from our president, actually, insinuating that he might be a time traveler. Okay, and which is actually really interesting because Barry Littleton had me on his show yesterday, and I had been asked to do. He gave me two targets. He tasked me with two blind targets. One of them happened to be CERN, and the other one was a time traveling device that belonged to John Teeter, I believe, that was in his Corvette or something like that. And the data was absolutely incredible, y'all. And we're gonna mention that today. I've got Barry here in the studio with me, and we're gonna get into that a little bit today. But what a coincidence! The synchronicities are off the chart, y'all. For the president putting that out and us having that conversation yesterday. So yeah, if you guys missed that, go over to Barry's channel. It's Barry Littleton on YouTube, and go check out that show from yesterday. Okay. Also, we had a fantastic show with Bruce Brown on Saturday night. If you guys happen to miss that, y'all, please go check that out. Gosh, we talked about the well over 100,000 pygmy graves, ancient pygmy graves that are all up and down the corridor, the middle of actually Tennessee. Bruce estimates there might be millions or a million or something like that. So there are civilizations of small people, little people, that we are not taught about in our history books right down here in the South. So, but yeah, that was a great show. We also talked about werewolves and the werewolf family on the LBL and all sorts of other stuff, and a shapeshifter report that I took last week. Okay, that I'm going to go investigate soon. But yeah, but we do have much more to talk about today, and we're going to get to this in just a moment. If you guys would like to check out the Cryptid Huntress, go over to my website. It's thecryptidhuntress.com. And you can find all my shows, my social media links, my calendar of events. And yes, I do have some events coming up. If you guys want to come out and see me in person, come hang out. It's always a pleasure meeting you guys out in person. Okay. Also, I do have a Patreon, and I have an Etsy shop. It's called War Woman Goods. If you guys are interested in checking out the goods over on Etsy. Okay. Okay. Well, let's get into our show today. Okay. So today we are covering some of this week's hot topics, including President Trump's recent time traveling memes, disclosure potentially, new Mandela effects, modern day dinosaur sightings around the world, which we're having some more of those, y'all. North Korea's alleged cloned dinosaur, we're going to get into that, and a reported Skinwalker on video. That's a weird one. I've got some connections to make with that, whether it's AI or it's real, we don't know yet, but we're going to look into that today. And also we're going to look into these reptilians in the EU government building and around the world. It's a reptilian takeover. We're not going to let it take over, okay? Because we are Team Human. Be a nice human, y'all. Okay, we're Team Human over here on the Cryptid Huntress channel, and so not to say reptilians are bad. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying we are Team Human. At least I am. So of course we have Barry Littleton here, part of Team Human over here, and we had a fantastic show, like I said yesterday, over on his channel. You guys, please go over to Barry Littleton on YouTube, Patreon, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere you can find it. Just look for Barry Littleton, and please help me welcome to the show Mr. Barry himself. Hey, Barry.
What's up? You know, for the for those that are familiar with Star Trek DS9, all I can say is you just put me on Team Human.
You better be these days.
Oh
We,
man,
we're
yeah.
gonna stick together as humans. Okay.
Well, if it means anything, though, I can promise you this: that there is a whole host of beings and civilization that want to come in here and take over if humanity thwarts its ownership of its stewardship of the planet. There's a whole lot that want to come in here and take over from other dimensions, space, all these other different places. Because this is a place, where you can get in here. You're dimensional like we are. You can feel. You can feel in a way that some of the spirits in the work I've done, they can't to that degree. It's not that love isn't present and not capable of experiencing love, but it's the feeling, the physical enjoyment that comes with eating a big old meal or, smoking a fat cigarette or whatever the case is. That's what this place is. And it's what keeps people coming back here more than people think, to where it's more of a, a choice. Let me go back and, get my rocks off again. Anyway.
Those carnal pleasures, right? And so yeah, that's and addictions, right? The addictions kind of keep people wanting to come back and being stuck to things like land and not wanting to let go. And listen, I have found that it's actually quite freeing to let go of things, objects, people, things that are holding you down, because that's what's holding you back from elevating sometimes, are those things that are keeping you stuck, man. And stuck. And that's why I always say clean out the clutter. Okay, clean out the clutter. Get rid of all your, old clothes, things that are getting dust, collecting dust. Just get rid of them and clean it out. And it's just good for your soul. Okay, get rid of old stuff,
and,
including just kidding.
And there's the issue when you actually transition, you do have that choice to come back here and go other places. And sometimes individuals choose to, even after they crossed over, they come back on choice. Some of it is based on that feeling, giving the feelings back, even though they weren't earthbound, but knowing that what type of tactile contact we have here. And there are other beings trying hard to get in here and feel that and manifest that, and I think that's what we're dealing with in our work quite a bit. Branching off, I want to say thank you for that show yesterday, for coming on my little Sunday gig. That was the best live I think I've ever done. It was the most rewarding. There was a ton of information that was given out. I was even surprised, to be honest. I was sitting up there kind of blown away. I was like, whoa, because I didn't get to really see the data before we started the show. Just you sent it like maybe 2 minutes before, so I didn't really get to look at it. I saw government patent on there or something. I was like, ooh, but then I didn't get to really see the rest. So the rest of it, I was just discovering it with everybody else. It was really a trip. I thought it would be one of the easier ones I gave to you. That's why I didn't think it'd be that much information on it. Wrong on that. And for what it's worth, you did those 2 blind remote view targets. And I'm a Gemini brother, man. I got online last night. I started Googling on YouTube remote viewing CERN. And several videos came up with many individuals. I watched a bunch of them. And I'm just going to say this, man. The ones I was watching was BS compared to what we did yesterday. No data was ever presented. It's stuff that's this new age stuff like what I heard back in the 80s. It's the same stuff. You know what I mean? And with a couple extra things mixed in that are things that have been discovered. And people are just eating it up, man. And it's nothing that's going to help anything in reality. And what you discovered yesterday, none of them were talking about that place is truly, as opposed to just creating exotic particles, it's a doorway. It's a telepathic doorway, and not even in the way of we think of a typical Stargate. It's more of a transitional, like a jumping point to other places. I didn't expect that. So I'm sure it does other things too, but that I didn't expect. And it's connection to the sun. All that stuff that was coming up in that data that we went over, and then the stuff with Teeter, I thought for sure I'd get off easy on that one. I did believe that this machine was real, but I wasn't sure you were going to get anything off of it because it doesn't take much for all that stuff to be convoluted, and you won't get anything off of it. If it's too much BS behind it. But that was wrong on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I did. The data was absolutely incredible. I was shocked at how on target both of those were, actually. And we didn't remote view any reptilians under CERN or anything. Okay, just saying. So
well,
we're gonna talk about those today.
It was thrown really quick. She did say Sleestack.
Barry, you're right. Oh, maybe I did remote view that.
Well, I remember I asked you about it, and you had pointed out how it was something you had said for a certain reason. I can't remember exactly what it was now, but I actually asked you about it. I was like, I see Sleestack on there,
I did. I forgot about that.
That takes me. It's so weird to hear that now because that makes me think of Land of the Lost, and it makes me think of that being Shaka and how it looks like the new Supergirl. Supergirl and Shaka look a lot alike. Dean Cain was saying that. I couldn't stop laughing. People were, I was having a beer at this bar, and these people were all mad. I don't like what Dean Cain said. I was like, what? She said, that's Shaka. I was like, what? And I started laughing, man. It's hilarious. Anyway, sorry.
That's funny. Oh, man. Nathan said, no kidding, Barry. The elites didn't spend $250 billion for CERN. So physicists could add yet another fundamental particle into some textbooks. It's way more than that. Now, that was the target that I was seeing the Stranger Things. Was that the one, or was that the time travel one? It was like the Hawkins labs, and then like the scene from Contact where they're, that's the one where they're actually talking and interacting with interdimensional alien beings and things like that in the target, right? That was my data. That was a third one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that was the main collider. I was tripped out. You've been talking about a long time some of the other projects they have going on, like Atlas, CMS, Alice. You've talked about Alice before, and then they've got all these LHCBs, the miniature ones. So and that went all the way back to CERN got put on the map because of really John Titor and that whole story. But that got so convoluted throughout the years, even the guy that was pretending to be John Titor and who that might have been, that it got just it's kind of forgotten. But he said that CERN was going to accidentally discover time travel and join with General Electric, and then they would get a contract with the military. And that's who he had worked for. Now, when I went back and looked up CERN and GE, they have had some collaborations already. From 2018 to 2021, they made something called LHC coils. These special coils for the smaller LHCs, especially, that's going to get them up to faster speed of collision, I guess. So, so it was only to 2021, but I mean, still there's where there's smoke, there's fire, then I find that fascinating. And that patent that he had, one of them, I didn't have that picture, but it says it's got GE on there. General Electric. Yeah. So, I mean, that's I think really, really, really fascinating. And one more thing I'll say is how your sketch for that, of all the times you've done the sketches, that one really blew me away. Yeah. In terms of, I can't remember which one it was, but you have what looked like a Mako, which is the circle. And then you've got these arrows one going up, one going down. And I know you didn't know, like you said, well, hey, I think I'm going to make this look like a time cone to trick Barry. You don't know what that is. You know what I mean? So, but when you look at a time cone, and I can pull one up if you want, but it's got it's actually how it starts off as a cross, okay, which is space and time. And it shows how light moves across space and time. All right. And as you get further away from the event horizon in the middle, you start getting these cones at the top that are spreading, because you get what is, deviation as you go off, so that means the further you go into the past, and the upward arrow that they have on there is going towards like the future or the past, or the past, the one going down is towards the future. And these are the ways that you manipulate like closed time-like curves. And you had those arrows just like that on what would be a Mako itself. Okay, and there's no way you could have known that. But that also, I'm sorry, I'm getting too hyped on this stuff again. But the thing is that the further you get on that cone away from the event horizon, the more like change in scintillations you have. And when you actually, when you go back, once you go back into the past, you become part of the past. And when you go back to the future, you're not going to come on the same timeline you left from. You're just not. That natural deviation is going to stop it every time. And how that messes up kind of what we call the grandfather paradox. Sorry.
Wow. I mean, I think it's fantastic. And it couldn't have come at a better time, Barry, because this morning I woke up and I was scrolling through social media. I was just laying around. I was like, what else can we add on to the topics today? And President Trump had posted, he's notorious for posting memes that like rile people up and, aliens, contact, and all that kind of stuff. And I know, but this morning, and I don't know if he put it out last night or yesterday or whenever, but he is time traveling and pulling President George Washington up to Mount Rushmore. And he's talking about time travel. And I was like, okay, so this is wild because it's just a meme. Okay. But he always has method in his madness. Okay. And I think this is where he's opening up the conversation for time travel for the normies. Okay. And we just did that show. We just remote viewed CERN, CRV blind targets, and time travel technology. And of course, we have your picture here to show everybody.
Sorry, I know you probably won't spend much time. Cool. It's just I saw you about to show your image, so I just grabbed that. That's a light cone, and it's another way that, like I said, you can measure space and time. Light, it's going through space and time. You see the cross I was representing, and what I want to point out, just you've got the cones on the top and the bottom, but the future, you see the arrow going down, and you see the past, the arrow going up. You have that on a Mako on your growing. Sorry, on your drawing.
On my groin? What?
Sorry, man. But you got that in your drawing, and it's amazing how much that circle you have there looks like not just, if you look at those cave paintings in France, yeah, there you go. See, look, there you go right there, the arrows. There's no way you could have known. You've got it going towards the center, which is going to be the center of the black hole, center of the Mako. And if you look at that, it looks just like the ones from those pictures in France that have like the circles around them. Sorry, I'll take that off. Yeah.
I'll take it.
Anyway, it's just there's no way. So that's when you first went through that. I remember you saying, "What do you think?" I was like, "Man, I think I'm kind of flabbergasted. I'm gonna have to just go to the time travel technology issue," because it jumped right into that, and that's where that went, just like that. And you can't fake that stuff, you know what I mean? But anyway, I think that's just a little bit more pertinent information than me and you sitting up there talking about, whatever, man, reptilians, and then there was this and that. There's something very real going on there, and it's different data, and how much what you were saying matches the patent that we couldn't barely find yesterday about the full body self teleportation device. Your other sketch looked like part of that. And we found that yesterday, it's only half of what used to be on there. Some of those pictures are gone. They've got the pictures of the chakras and stuff adjusting, but you don't see those pictures of those stone monoliths anymore, and how they're supposed to be between the monoliths, and then they were using that to make actually a doorway. That part of that patent is gone. And what we finally found yesterday was not called that anymore. So I mean, that stuff like that is, man, that's just, sometimes I bite more than I could chew on some of those. That was one of them. I thought I was gonna get off easy, but that wasn't an easy one, but it was an informative and a good one. And I just want to say thanks for that. For anybody who didn't check it out and go to my channel, it was yesterday's live. And I thought it must have been like 3 hours long, but it was only like 1 hour and 50 minutes. But it was so heavy. So heavy.
Yeah. It was excellent information. Thank you for giving me those targets. I have not posted them in my Patreon yet, but they're going to my Patreon today. I haven't had time, y'all. But I'm gonna add both of these targets to Patreon today, and so you guys can see that if you're a member of that. And Barry, you can put it in your Patreon too. Okay, or whatever. Yeah, but Barry's got a Patreon too, y'all. but yeah, I just think that it's timely. You know, CERN has been turned off. A lot of people are reporting, including myself. Okay, we're reporting that there are a lot of differences in our everyday lives that we have noticed since they've turned CERN off. Now, is it related? Maybe, maybe not. Okay, but that includes. Let me just tell you what it includes: dreams. Okay, dream state. And I don't know about the audience, okay, but I have not had dreams that I remember, and I'm just talking about a couple of years, okay. Like, I mean, I do occasionally remember my dreams, but I used to be very very fluent in my dream state, okay, if you know what I mean. Like, I would have lots of dreams, and I'd remember my dreams, and now it started getting to where the only time I'd remember my dreams is when I'm out in the woods, okay, away from technology and no Wi-Fi and no towers and no phone service. But now, all of a sudden, for the past like 2 or 3 weeks, I have just been inundated with wild and crazy dreams, Barry. And it's every night, and it's like thorough dreams. I'm getting downloads, all that stuff. So I'm not sure if other people are in the audience are experiencing that, but people are reporting that all over the world right now.
And you know what's scary is, you know, that that is increasing, because right now also, I mean, one of the main focusing of neurocognitive programming is dream engineering, targeted dream incubation, and different ways of actually structuring and controlling dreams. I mean, it's they've been doing that for a while, but right now I think it's just completely awry. Just like the V2K right now, that's starting to hit CNN and stuff. I'm seeing it now. So many people getting hit with that stuff. It's becoming much more of a popular or topic now. It's not so much just conspiracy anymore. And we know that's been happening a long time. It can be proved by certain scans, by NJLT scans. But that is, you know, so the fact that they're assaulting the dreamscape like that, what a way to enslave a species.
Right.
Even worse than the Matrix.
Yes. Well, Bonnie said that CERN is still on. It's just moving very slowly. Okay. The reports were that they had shut it down, but they probably do still have it on slowly. Okay, Bonnie, I have no idea. Thank you for that comment. Well, they're planning on turning it back on in 2030 of all times. Is that an agenda I hear? Okay.
What is the reason it's been shut down so much? I read about upgrades, certain upgrades they're doing.
Yeah, maintenance and upgrades. And I think Moondog
it didn't have anything to do with the cooling system, did it?
Probably. Yeah, why not? That was in my data, actually. That was in the data for that target. But yeah, somebody was saying they're making CERN 2.0. I mean, listen, you know, I oftentimes like to bring this chart up to show the audience. There are Department of Energy buildings all over the country, and a lot of them do have these large ion colliders in them. And so they're probably just making more of them right now. Maybe they're just making more.
Those would be the LHCBs. Yeah. Which are the smaller ones.
It's the map. Those are the maps I'm talking about.
And you know, you've got that one company that's in competition with CERN as far as size and things, and then you've got somebody that I think is bigger, which is Fermilab. Fermilab is, I think they got a bunch of stuff going on. Yeah.
Oh man. Well, I think that they're gearing up, first of all, to start talking about time travel as more of a mainstream theory. Okay. And I'm saying that because, but only because right now, we've got the CERN conversation going on. Everybody knows about CERN. The Mandela effects are kind of off the chain. Okay. A lot of people are, and this is the strangest thing. The Mandela effects are becoming a Mandela effect for me. The people's realization of Mandela effects is my Mandela effect now, because I remember these things changing a year or two ago. And there's people out there that are just now new to this, onto the scene, realizing that some of these things that changed a long time ago are just now changing. Does that make sense? That sounds weird.
Yeah. Watch two people about getting into a fight over Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, I know. Right? It's always Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
It's always Chick-fil-A.
Oh,
yeah.
Man.
Well, there's some more new ones.
Yeah, I think a part of it is also, and I wonder how much of it is not just time engineering in these things, but how much is natural with our evolvement of consciousness. that's the part of this AI, and I think the whole internet thing, the whole communication we're doing now consciously, the way it's helping us evolve as a species. And it's too bad it can go the other way so easily. But I mean, things are changing in that way. So with awareness and a change of consciousness is the awareness of timeline, time sensitivity, time sensitives. Is that increasing? You know what I mean? Anyway, sorry you said so.
That's right. I agree with that for sure. And poor Hillbilly Herb. Hillbilly Herb, you've been stuck in Mall World for a while, haven't you, buddy? I hate that for you. Actually, it's kind of cool too at the same time. But Hillbilly Herb said that he's had crazy dreams every night, remembers them for a bit in the morning, but he said he had less actual nightmares since CERN shut down, though, except for yesterday, got stuck in Mall World again. Man, I tell you what, people are still having Mall World dreams, Barry. Mall World. Am I frozen? I froze there for a second. People are having Mall World dreams. And it's like the collective consciousness kind of thing. And some people are relating that to the GATE program, that talented and gifted program, I guess, or the TAG program. Is it TAG, I guess. But anyways.
The assassination game? TAG, yeah. The assassination game? Anyway,
no,
sorry. I don't know where that really begins and ends. Because I've had clients that have had experiences in malls, but it's not the way that this is being described. So I think that that's a focal point at some part. You know what I mean? I mean, but to where these would be abandoned malls where people are getting trained by ETs in there, along with military people. And it's weird because whatever this is, the military people aren't in control of it. You know what I mean? And that's kind of a trip. And somebody tell me, after the regression, it's happened a couple of times. I said, well, I just thought those were just these dreams I kept having. Yeah, dream that vivid again and again and again. Recurrent dreams like that are vivid. That's where you have a conscious awareness to a degree, cognitive abilities. That's something different going on. Then you take that with this Mall World thing, and that's a perfect type of dream engineering of some type they're doing. And I've seen some people that, there's a certain, in fact, it was Journey to Truth. It was a type of a cleaning van that was at some mall that triggered one of them. And then they started posting it and people started triggering people. And this company was like real, when you start looking into it, it's real odd. And they're saying the malls that supposedly maybe were having, odd paranormal things happen. This cleaning company was there, these vans. I don't know. It was very interesting. I know I didn't experience that, but it's interesting nonetheless, Well,
yeah. Well, it's kind of really concerning for me, because the dream state is so important. And that is part of being human, is dreaming. Okay. And I know that sounds kind of wild, right? But we have to dream so that we can work out our subconscious thoughts, right? Barry, you know as well as anybody, you're a hypnotherapist, you're a hypnotherapist. And it's important. It's even more important for us to dream, not only for the rest that we get, to let our body rest, but it's to let our mind rest. Okay. Our mind has to rest. And when it doesn't, things go south quick. Okay, have you ever seen those videos of like people that have been sleep deprived and they're driving? It's worse than being drunk, wasted drunk. Okay, if you're sleep deprived and driving. I'm not gonna say it's worse, but it's just as bad.
It's pretty bad. It's bad. Dysfunctioning is pretty bad if you get too, you lack in too much, you start having delusions and having, seeing, you
start seeing things that aren't there.
Yeah.
You start hallucinating and you see. I mean, it's almost like you're seeing into other dimensions on like a low vibration. You know what I mean? Like it's bad. All those Russian sleep experiment. I don't even want to talk about that. I've seen pictures of people clawing their eyes out and all sorts of stuff. So it's just important that we sleep. And when we're trying to work out our subconscious and our thoughts, and we've got someone messing with our dream state, and we're not able to do that, that's going to make for a lot of, I hate to say zombies. Okay, but we're not able to do what we need to do as far as our mental health goes and stuff. So I'm no doctor; it's for entertainment only.
That's why so many people, and I've been saying for over a decade, people need to really pay attention to the things that happen, technically in the dream state, the contact related. That's something I found out the hard way. Seeing people that are kind of transparent on board a craft I'm about to throw up on, and they're not. Okay. There's a reason why they do that by location of the energy body, the dream body from the physical body during contact. And for those people that have the ability to put their full dream attention, as in meaning their full cognitive abilities, into the dream body and function there as cognitively as we do here right now and lucidly, that's a special person that can do that. But that happens a lot during the contact experience, and a lot of reasons that people can't remember them. You know what I mean? I've been on board a craft. There's two people I've met in this third dimensional world. Okay. And that was very third dimensional to me. That was, but they're actually, I met them in my normal, like my day life. And one of them can remember this craft. I show them an image of it, that what's inside. They have a vivid memory of it. The other person doesn't, but they know the beings that are around that type of tech and that type of, you know what I mean? So it's the same thing. The vibration is still there. So, and I had that problem, Jessica. That's even after I came forward. I still had a problem differentiating the astral dream experiences from the physical, because what happened to me is physical. And I had other stuff. I had dream, astral, OBE type stuff happen that was on board craft too, but I didn't talk about that because it wasn't as third dimensional. I wasn't touching things. I wasn't, getting that sickness. You may think you kind of got a body, but you don't, most likely. It's just, so it's this situation where I got that temporal aphasia, though I knew I was there. And I was not just that, I was having effects from it following days. You know what I mean? So that's after effects. So.
Oh man. Well, you know what? I have one Mandela effect to show the audience today that's brand new. And I don't know for sure if this is a real Mandela effect. To me it is, I guess, because I always thought we're going to look at a world map. Okay. And this one kind of left me scratching my head, Barry. On a world map, where does South America sit below North America and Central America? Like, where would it be, like straight down, or would it be over to the right, the left? What do you remember? Where does South America sit in relation to where we live?
Just the Earth is just a flat plate, isn't it? Just like right down there. I'm going to quit when I get in trouble.
So that just depends. Let's see the world map. Here we go. So this was freaking some people out online. Okay, this is a map of North America, Central America, South America, and people were very, and I remember it being more underneath the United States, more centered underneath us a little bit. And now, and this is, it could just be that people are not remembering or didn't see the map the same way. But they're freaking out because it's way over to the right. Okay. Like way farther over than they remember. And so, I don't know. Are you getting out your map, Barry?
My globe here.
Your globe?
This is actually my father's, and it's from the 90s, maybe the 80s. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. It's way over. Well, maybe you have woken up in a different timeline too, Barry.
Well, but you know how inaccurate this is. It's spherical. So, it's supposed to just be like a sheet. Anyway,
yes,
so I don't know.
It's all
I always honestly paid more attention to just the fact that they were connected, opposed to where actually South America was positioned. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I remember it being kind of over to the side, but the people online were saying it's never been this far over before. And it was, it's what is that? The hive mind? Is that what you call it, Barry? The collective consciousness. A lot of people, as soon as one person suggested, let's call it suggestion, right, Barry? With hypnotism, the power of suggestion is freaking strong. Okay.
Oh yeah, it's really strong.
Yeah.
Really
and so
strong.
One person says it, and then it becomes a huge viral TikTok campaign. Okay. And so, but that was the word on the street. Uh,
I see some discussion about whether or not the Earth is a globe or round. It's spherical.
mhm.
And if you think it is not, you need to go and disprove inertial drag frame and the inertial drag that actually Earth creates. And only spherical objects that do that create that inertial drag frame. And the fact that we have the satellites that suffer from the Doppler effect is proof of that. Okay, that takes us in the Doppler effect and other things. So it's just certain things that science needs to really, that does mean a little bit. You know what I mean? It may not be the perfect globe circle, but it is spherical. And
Mhm.
another thing is, isn't it time we start finding, the amateur astronomers start finding the flat planets, the flat exoplanets? We don't have any. Just
I don't
saying.
know. It depends on if you trust NASA or not, too. There's that.
It's not just NASA. You got a bunch of amateur astronomers now that would love to make a name for themselves by saying that. Just like how many of them are looking for quote unquote Planet 9, Nibiru. Oh boy,
Mhm.
the person that finds that, they're good.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I don't you think Will Smith coming with the pin flashing you would make you forget that?
yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, I just wanted to bring this up. I think it's pretty fascinating, actually. Like, I personally, too, also don't remember South America being over that far, towards Africa. I don't remember that, but it doesn't mean that I'm right or wrong. Okay. And so this is one of the latest Mandela effects, according to a lot of people. They just don't remember it this way. Okay. And so, man, I mean, we get new stuff popping up on maps all the time. As a matter of fact, go
Well,
ahead.
question: don't you remember? Like, I don't
Okay.
know, when I was younger, I remember some of those maps and globes had Egypt in the Middle East and not Africa. That was a big deal. A lot of those globes and stuff were like that. I bet you could look that up right now. Yeah, and it was a big distributed people saying that they were trying. It was went into the whole racial thing and Rugu type of thing. But yeah, they were trying to put it in the Middle East when it's part of Africa.
I think Cheeky Blue is the one who just said it floated over a little ways. So yes, all of South America floated over towards Africa.
Well, technically, he's right. There is drift, continental drift, right? That is true. Actually, that is true.
Oh
like
man, it floated.
like I was thinking about something a little off with somebody that in a live I did a couple of weeks ago. They had said that a Dyson spear could maybe be a ring too. I kind of said, nah, I don't think so because there's no middle part, yada yada. But when I started thinking about something that is a type of habitation that's these certain probes are supposed to be. You got like not Berserk, you've got Bracewell probes, Van Neumann probes, Berserker probes, and this other one is called a. But it's like a ring habitation, as far as but it's more of a space station, but it is in ring form and would almost be circular like that in orbit. So that person may have been referring to something like that. I didn't think about that. You know what I mean? But the Dyson Spear's on a much larger scale, but who knows? You know what I mean? Who knows? You start dealing with civilizations capable of that type of stuff.
Oh man, hey, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Okay, okay, well, we're not going to get into the flat Earth versus the globe argument because this show will never end. Okay, listen, I did a show, Barry. I did a show on flat Earth. We talked about the possibility of flat Earth with Gerald and Jane from Midwest Night Watchers. What's up, Gerald and Jane? And this was years ago. I mean, years ago. And I still get notifications on Instagram that people are still arguing over those posts.
Well,
they're still arguing. They're going over these posts and still arguing. People in the chat, like they're going in the comments. It has like millions of. I'm not kidding. It's got like hundreds of thousands of comments. It's ridiculous. It's just arguing.
Well, sometimes I think honestly, maybe instead of saying everything is conspiracy, sometimes people just don't look at science at all, and that's really what happens there. And just somebody will say something on social media, and it sounds good. It's worded good. And the people don't really look it up scientifically,
Yeah. Well, it's more fun just
just
to
like
log
things
on
like
to TikTok.
saying like we've never been to the moon. Okay, fine. That big conspiracy deal. You know, why don't somebody go and actually discredit how none of those rockets and none of those schematics work? That's a start there. Really proving that's a science that doesn't work. Period. You know, and that's not been done. Instead, we get all it's just, you know what I mean? And it's such a concocted world we live in that there's no point. Yeah, I stay away from the flat Earth thing, but I'm waiting to get the Nikes that have the real wide. I'm gonna need those if it's, you know.
Oh. Well, you know, the Earth will be losing gravity in, what is that, 3 weeks, something like that, 2 or 3 weeks. Barry. That was our viral video. It's coming up. We were discussing it. It's coming up, Barry.
I thought that already happened and passed.
No, it happens in August. Yeah, we're gonna lose gravity for 7 seconds, everybody.
You know, I can't believe that clip of all the stuff we've done. I can't believe that went viral because and now I heard back about it. I went to go get my phone fixed, and the guys in there look at me real funny. And they go, "Man, we've seen you. We saw you in this video, man. The Cryptid Huntress. It was a TikTok thing." I was like, "What?" And so you're going like, and I was like, "No, man, it was." I was doing. It was a joke. I was pretending like the movie Airplane with Stryker. Every time Stryker was telling people his story, they're like hanging themselves or unaliving themselves. And he knows that. So you were talking about that. I was just doing that like I was going through the Stryker. I was going like that and stuff. So I was just messing around. And I didn't think anybody could see me because you had the picture up. That's all it was. I was just goofing around, man. But I can't believe that went viral. Probably lost some respect on that, man.
It did. I mean, it got it on Instagram. It has over 3 million views, actually, just on Instagram alone. Yeah, it's wild, y'all. You never know what's going to blow up, go viral. Dottie says August 12th. And somebody else, I think She Blue said August 7th. It's either the 12th or the 7th. I thought I remember the 7th, but it may be the 12th. It's one of those dates. So y'all buckle up, buttercups. Okay. Or don't. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do in that case. Well, I do know what the president's doing right now. He's over there posting some weird memes and stuff. And I wanted to show this to the audience today, Barry.
I would say make sure you don't use the Johnny on the spot those days.
Porta potty.
You don't want to be caught that when that happens.
Exactly. Yeah, do not get in a porta potty in those days at all, y'all. Please don't. Okay, or do. I don't care if you do or not. Okay. So I woke up to this.
Okay, he posted this.
He posted this. Okay, that is Trump lifting up George Washington onto Mount Rushmore. This is so funny. It says a time travel epic down at the bottom. This was on his Truth Social account today. I don't know when he posted this weekend, or I just saw it for the first time this morning. Let me blow this up on my screen so I can see it. It says the past was about. Hold on, what does that say? The past was about to change. History was about to be saved. History was about to be saved. Okay.
This is a silly question, but obviously they've got Washington's DNA, don't they?
Ooh, I don't know. Maybe they got dinosaur DNA.
They got cherry trees. They got cherry trees, so why not some DNA?
They got his wooden pictures, right? I'm just kidding.
You know,
anyway.
See, something like this is fascinating. What this man does. Look, I stay out of political stuff. I'm not a fan, okay?
Yes, but we're not getting political, y'all.
Yeah. But I will say the stuff that he does, things like this, or having the guy that's his wife's dad right beside him, kind of with the same suit, and from the back they look almost just alike. It's very bizarre. And or the thing I heard on NPR, and I'm sorry, it made me laugh though. They said in his office he had a big old red button on like the desk,
and it's Diet Coke.
And he'll push it, to get the Coke. Yeah, and I was people that are tripping out on it. We say, yeah, that's kind of funny. I got to be honest. In a way, it's not, but it kind of is. But it's the little stuff like that he does, you know. But you got to remember, this is the guy that was on WWE wrestling Vince McMahon to shave each other's head. That wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
Messing around with Stone Cold Steve Austin, you know.
Yes, what was that other guy's name that was that had that show and he was a conspiracy theorist? He was a wrestler too, wasn't he? What is that guy's name? He was like the governor of Michigan or something.
Jesse Ventura.
Jesse Ventura. Yes,
That
him.
Conspiracy Zone. Yeah, that wasn't a bad
I
show.
love that show. That was a great show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, wrestlers can do anything, Barry. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
they can do whatever they want. I mean, seriously, we got respect for the wrestlers.
That hyperdimensional resonator that I showed you. He did an episode over that. That thing that's in the box now, but he did a thing over that, a show over that. Yeah.
Well, shoot, yeah. Let's see. I'm gonna share the screen, and we're gonna talk about this for just a second because I think it's very timely. It's very interesting that he would share this, Barry.
Concerning that picture, though, I mean, I wonder what they got the DNA stuff they're doing. They got Washington's DNA. Is that what that is implying? Of course, my mind's running wild now. He got me too, so I don't know.
You know what it could be? I don't know. Yeah, because they're talking about history was about to be changed, so he had to go save it or something like that. That's wow. And we have talked about Project Pegasus. That is where Andrew Basiago claims to have gone back to give messages to Lincoln and all the different presidents throughout time when he was a kid, right? So
no. Where did this come from? This here, I've not heard this at all.
Okay, so this is from Newsweek. Okay, this is just an article from this morning, 3:16 a.m. That's when the talking points usually go out, though. So there's definitely something. This is and all the articles I read they all sound the same. Trump shares picture of him traveling in time to save George Washington. It says President Donald. This is from Newsweek.com, y'all. President Donald Trump shared an image on Truth Social depicting himself apparently traveling back in time to save George Washington, the latest in a string of surreal AI-style images posted on his account. The image, which appears to be based on a fictional movie, shows Trump pulling America's first president to safety with Mount Rushmore visible in the background. And it doesn't really give a whole lot of information on that.
What fictional movie? What fiction?
No, it said that it's in the style of a fictional movie. It looks like a poster board, like a poster for a movie, a flyer for a movie, and so that's what they're comparing that to. It's not from an actual movie. Okay, he got on that ChatGPT AI stuff and decided to make him a little. His press team made him a little time traveling thing.
Wow. Okay. Man, you got an interesting comment down there, man. I'm trying to look over there. You got an interesting comment.
What's the comment?
Beth Noise, I can never say her last name right. She's really cool. 1252. Look what she said. Sorry, it just caught my eye. The Fermilab caught my eye.
Yeah.
That's one for a regression right there. That's for a regression. Well, seriously, I mean, because that's a way to find out. That's a fascinating question. And I mean, did that place make sounds? Those places make sounds. Are they loud? Are they? I'm always curious. What is it like to be around one of those devices? Even like a couple of blocks away. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because I can't help but notice, like when I was in Australia, did a couple clearings over there. And sorry about that. Excuse me. And we did a couple clearings over there, some houses and a factory too. And I couldn't help but notice all those ones were even more closely located near large electrical installations, And that makes me think about that when thinking about these things here that, that can hide these quote unquote type 3 spears, can hide their gamma radiation and microwave emissions. Just food for thought again.
Man, I mean, everything's so connected, Barry. It's weird. It's wild. Okay, well, for a while now, there's been speculation that the Trump family are a bunch of time travelers, and this has been all over the internet. Wow. We're going to take a quick dive into this, y'all, and so this is actually from ibtimes.co.uk. So the International Business Times, okay, and it says this was just published on the 15th of March of this year. It says, is Donald Trump a time traveler inside the Nikola Tesla and John G. Trump theory? Now, John G. Trump is supposed to be his uncle, I believe. And says, a look into Tesla's theories, Trump family ties, and the literary parallels behind one of the internet's most viral conspiracy theorists. Of course, for a while, people have talked about Baron Trump being a time traveler. Now, there has been a book from, I think it's the 1800s, that is basically talking about a kid named Baron Trump who's a time traveler. Okay. And so yeah. And so this is just part of this article right here. And let's go down. Here we go. Is President Trump a time traveler? And this is out of a book, something about Baron Trump. Let's keep scrolling. Okay. Oops.
Oh.
Uh-oh. Those are track stars over there. Okay, Nikola Tesla remains. So there was a connection to Nikola Tesla and Donald Trump's uncle, I believe. And of course, among Tesla's papers, it says, particularly those dealing with high voltage experiment and theories of energy transmission, theorists imagine the possibility of a working Nikola Tesla time machine. Okay, and it says this is one of the posts here. A painting featuring a blonde-haired captain with the words Trump on the boat, created a century ago, has started rumors of the president being a time traveler. Discovered trove of 100-year-old sketches by Prussian-born artist Charles Delshaw could hold clues. And so John G. Trump is Donald Trump's uncle. A prominent electrical engineer and physicist, John G. Trump worked on radar and advanced technology for the U.S. government during World War II, and after Tesla died in 1943, he was tasked with reviewing Tesla's papers to assess their potential for national security. Now, there's no evidence that John Trump discovered or built a time travel device, but some theorists suggest these papers could have contained secrets lost or hidden from the public view, fueling the notion of a Trump-Nikola Tesla theory. Now, Baron Trump, like I said, is some people think he's a time traveler. It says Baron Trump in the 19th century prophecies. Then let's see. So there's an 1800s book by Ingersoll Lockwood. The Baron Trump series follows a young protagonist who travels the world, encounters secret knowledge, and navigates mysterious adventures. There's similarities between the fictional Baron and Donald Trump's son, Baron Trump. From the shared first name to physical resemblance and old illustrations, the parallels have sparked speculation that the books were in some way predictive. Fans of this theory also point to The Last President, which is another novel by Lockwood, which describes political chaos in New York following the election of an outside leader, a scenario some see as echoing Trump's rise to power. While these connections are largely anecdotal, they create a narrative that is of conspiracies and all that kind of stuff. There's some of those. And yeah, it's just saying that it's clearly speculative, but people are, this post that he made today does not calm down the theorist out there, okay? Because it's actually kind of adding some fuel to the fire, Barry, if you ask me. Putting out this time travel stuff, they've just shut CERN down, or they've slowed it down at least. And here we are talking about CERN. There are no coincidences, Barry. Just saying. I don't know. What do you think? Because we just did cover CERN and time travel yesterday, and then we got this.
Well, I see sometimes the need to give these people to get presidency connections of bloodlines and all these other things is really necessary. And sometimes it can be somewhat contrived, but I don't know. You know what I mean? This is odd if this man really did work with Tesla and things, but how much of those claims are exaggerated concerning time travel? I don't know. I don't know. But when you start getting into CERN, that changes things, doesn't it? Now, because they have access to it now, probably. So it changes everything.
Oh my God. This is such an interesting comment right here, Angel. Angel says, I think Baron is a younger Donald, both on the same timeline. Like, what in the world? I mean, imagine. I mean, this could be possible. I'm not saying that Baron is Donald, okay, but how many people in the public right now could be hanging out with their younger self or their older self and have them time traveling back and forth? I mean, it is just makes my brain hurt, Barry, thinking about that. I mean, could that be possible? We're talking about these clones, and we're seeing clones of, famous people and stuff. What if it's just them traveling back in time to hang out with themselves a year ago? Is that weird? Just to add to the mix.
When I had an event where when I was younger, I saw what I know now appeared to be myself when I was in my mid-20s, early 30s. All right, I was a kid, I was 7, and when I taught, somehow Stephen Gibbs that sold me that $75 device, he
Time
somehow
travel.
knew that. He'd asked me when I called him, he said, "I was wondering if I was hear from you again." I said, "You never heard from me. We never talked before." He said, "Yeah, it's a couple years ago. I recognized your inflections. I figured you took the other machine and split." I was like, "We haven't talked." He said, "It was 2 years ago, and that time I was in a coma at the time," he was saying. I said, "Definitely wasn't me, man." And then he starts saying, He's like, "Well, have you seen yourself yet?" And there's no way that cat could have known that. That's how he kept my attention, because I was pretty much assuming he was a complete nut. And when he started telling me he, jumped to the pearly gates and was there arguing with St. Peter or whoever, I don't know, man. But at the same time, when he knew that, and I did have something like that happen to me, okay, and he asked me, he said, "Did you touch him?" I said, "No." He said, "Did you try?" I said, "No, not really." I took a step towards him, and he stood off the bridge and went like this. That's it. And he said, "You know why? Because if you would have touched him, there would be parts of your life you couldn't remember anymore." And I found that very, very interesting. He said that would have messed up your memory of parts of your life if you would have touched him. And he started saying certain things like that were different. He started saying, "You said it was 2 years ago you were in a coma?" I said, "Yeah." And he said, "That's what it is." He said, "It was your double. Your double was doing something to me and something to you as well." He said, "Are you kind of weird? Like you were hurt really bad and you recovered quicker and more than what anyone anticipated?" I said, "Maybe." He's like, "That's what it was. Your double was doing something." And I was like, "I admit that your voice seems somewhat familiar, and I know that you're in my home state. You're trying to hide it. You're trying to hide it on Art Bell show, but your area code, man, I know where you're at." So it's and it kind of went from there. I mean, that's before he got mad at me and stuff. But it was interesting. And he's the one that said that he would never go to a time convention ever again, because they were having these every now and then. They would have these time conventions for people that had time science and time technology. And if you had something that functioned, and those people that showed up with that got their stuff confiscated and they wound up being put in a mental institution. And he gave me some mental institution. Jesse, I can't remember exactly what state it was. I almost want to say he said it was in California somewhere, but he gave a name. And he's like, everybody in that mental health institution says that they're time travelers. He's telling me to check into it. It was very bizarre, because I'm going to get these back. He gave me, I bought all these journals from him that were supposed to have other devices in it that were similar to this HDR unit. And when I got this, some of these things are very advanced to the point I had to take it to my engineer friend and had him look at some of the schematics. He's going, "Where'd you get this?" You know what I mean? And so I called him and I said, "Man, your device you sent me don't work. It's not going to do no physical time jump." I said, "I could maybe fix it to where it might do something a little more than it does if you put a time integrative circuit in it." And he got pissed off at me. And then I said, before that, I asked him, I said, "I got these journals." He said they'd be 2 weeks before they came, but they came the next day. Wow. And I said, where'd you get this one? I said, "Where'd you get these schematics?" What? And he said, "Oh, from myself. Time travelers from the future, one that was myself."
Oh my God.
And he claimed this to me. I asked him, I said before he got mad at me. He talked a few times. I said, so what was the oddest thing that you ever had happen with one of these HDR units? And he says, Barry, the timeline that I come from, there was no Twilight Zone. I sold one of those to Rod Serling, and he said he was going to go back in time and create a show called the Twilight Zone. At this point, I'm like, man, this cat is pretty much cooked, you know? And he starts asking me, he said, have you ever seen any of the Twilight Zones? I say, yeah. He said, the originals, I said, I've seen most of them. He's like, you ever notice how a lot of them are about time travel?
Wow.
You still there? Oh, there you flipped off.
I put it on the screen here so everybody can see your device. We'll see the device.
Yeah. Like I was showing yesterday, if I took this thing apart, it's a radionics device. You know what I mean? So you touch the pad, that's the witness well, you put crystals or whatever in there. And this thing comes with electromagnets so big that I took this to my engineer friend too before I put the headband already tried. I'm like, I'm not frying my testicles over this thing, man. No way. But anyway, but it doesn't work for what he says. But it's based on in here, it's actually this circular wire, copper. It's in a certain circular formation it's formed. It's called a caduceus coil. And that's what kind of makes this thing interfere with like watches and things with electromagnetic crystals and things like that in it. All right. And that, but he claimed that he sold one of these to Rod Serling and it jumped. And he's telling me, don't make a jump to the past. I jumped in there and the Allosaurus were like birds. And so were the Tyrannosaurus. They'll eat you up. He was saying those weird stuff. So I kept trying to write him off as a nut, but certain things he was saying was interesting. And I'll get those books back and I'll do a video over them because they're very interesting. Those journals. You know, I think he's dead, or sorry, unalived naturally. I think. Mm-hmm. So anyway, it's just interesting stuff like that. And it was only the fact that I'd seen myself as a child. I'm obsessed with time travel and time science. And the stuff that I have experienced is nothing like what these people are saying, that SSP and all that stuff. I'm not saying it's not real what they're saying, but there's a lot of different projects, a lot of different stuff going on. You know what I mean? So anyway.
Oh, yeah, there are. Well, you know, and I wanted to pull up this article real quick, but then I also wanted to talk about some of the data from that time travel device, Barry. Okay, from that target you gave me as well. So let me just quickly go through this, then we'll get into the time travel stuff. And then we got a couple other things to talk about today. So this is an article on what is this? Times Now World, timesnownews.com. It says Barron Trump, the last president, 1800s time travel book sparks wild conspiracy theories. And so if you guys want to learn more about this, I mean, it's all over the internet. Oh my God, so many ads. Sorry. Okay. Well, anyways, yeah, I'm sorry. I hate pulling up websites now. It's just a bunch of ads. But just y'all go check that out. It's really interesting. Those books about the Trumps. They could be time travelers. Why not? I mean, my God, Barry, I've heard my own voice yell out time travel out at the meadow one night. Okay, on the way hiking into the meadow, and I would like to think that I'm a time traveler in the future, from the past. I don't know where
they have enough money. They have enough money for the funding. That's for sure.
The Trumps do, yeah, absolutely. Well, it could be, but anyways, it's just something to keep an eye on for the audience. You guys want to check out. I enjoy keeping up with all these crazy things the president puts out because it's showing you where the disclosure is headed right now. Okay, it went from the aliens, UFOs to the aliens. Now it's the time travel. You know, it's coming out in phases, I guess. You know, and so yeah, like I said, we'll see where that goes. Now for the remote viewing data yesterday for that time travel device and John Teeter's Corvette, I think, is that what you gave me?
Yeah, yeah.
That was really interesting. You know, just to let the audience know, if you missed that show yesterday, the data included. It's almost like it's a time travel device, but it was like a teleportation device, right, Barry? Is what the data suggested.
Well, he said it was, you know, device that brought him here from the year 2036. In fact, I'm pulling up a picture of it now. I'm trying to.
Okay. While you're pulling that picture up, I want to thank Kent Baxter. Thank you so much, Kent, for that super sticker. Kent? He says, I lost signal in the Santa Cruz Mountains earlier. No Bigfoot or Dogman spotted. Well, dang. Well, if you spot one, you holler at me, Kent. Okay. And thank you so much for your support. That's so sweet. I appreciate you so much. Please be safe out there. Okay, let's see what you got, Barry. Oh, the device.
And I've got something that was the patent, or not the patent, like the cover picture of it, or letter of it, and then there's this, and I've got pictures of it in the Corvette, and actually just a picture of the unit itself. And I mentioned to you yesterday that when looking in the middle there, Singularity 1 and Singularity 2, the Singularity 2 to me looks very much like a Tesla coil, a caduceus coil of a type that usually is surrounded by nano coating. That's what it looks like to me. Anyway, I thought that that's interesting. So I gave you that target because the first thing I wanted was, and not so much John Teeter himself, because that became so much nebulous. And I mentioned a friend of mine, Jason Quitt, who wrote a book over John Teeter, and he met this guy who claimed to be John Teeter, and it was some sort of scam guy. And Jason took a lot of stuff for that, but that guy was putting on a good scam. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But at a certain age, if you weren't around as much when Art Bell and the stuff was going on in '97, you might not know quite as much, But anyway, so this was, I wanted to see if this was real. Getting away from John Teeter, was the technology real? And there's a gentleman by the name of Poland, was it Paul Pullman, Pholman, that in 2008 did a patent that is patent number US 20060073976A1, and it's called this too. He's calling it a gravity distortion unit. That's what this is called. And it's similar. It's not quite the same, but it's worth looking at. You know what I mean? And that's some guy that got convicted of like child molestation or something like that, some weird background with him. So anyway.
Oh yeah, that sucks, man. Well, in my data, I just wanted to pull this up quickly because I think this is really fascinating. What I was seeing when I was remote viewing this thing, blind target, y'all. So I'm seeing, I actually wrote down patent for walking through walls. The patent for walking through walls. Now, I don't know, and I would say, hold on, I got the data right here. Molecular deconstruction and molecular repair was in my data. And this is what I was seeing. I've got this website. We'll pull it up. This is the patent for walking through walls. And I know some of you guys might be familiar with this. From the inventor is John Quincy St. Clair. This has 100% everything to do with our chakra systems right here, and the water, the body being composed of 70% water. Okay, and being able to, I guess, your molecules breaking down. I mean, it's exactly what I wrote down in my data. It's really wow, but this was actually in my data for that target, for this time travel device.
And what's really a trip is the first three images that you showed were a part of that full body teleportation patent. That was actually called that, and that's something different there slightly. But they got a few of those pictures, the one that have with the chakras on it, but they don't have the one with the monoliths or the doorway. So that's me, and it said something about it was discontinued or something on there, right? Or something.
It said it was abandoned. The patent had been abandoned, is what it said when I looked it up. So anyways, I just thought it's, this is more food for thought here. Okay. But this is the patent application right here from January 19th, 2006 right here. But yeah, interesting stuff. I mean, we might as well talk about it. If we got the president talking about time travel this morning and posting himself, going back and helping George Washington. Okay. So, but that's that. Yeah. Super, super wild. Okay. Well, let's see what else we got today. Hold on. Let me go to my TikTok. See what we got next. There have been some dinosaurs spotted, Barry. And I wanted to get into that today because you mentioned something about I think you mentioned something about a dinosaur a while ago. And I thought, man, that's a good segue. right there. I want to talk a little bit about some reptilians as well today. We've got some reptilian news to talk about. But first of all, I had a buddy of mine over on, he sends me stuff on Instagram occasionally, and he sent me these pictures. It's like a post. Now, of course, in today's age, Barry, everything could be AI. At this point, everything could be AI. Okay, but this is really interesting. We've got some pictures of a dinosaur that is running across the road, and it looks like a little velociraptor or something. And there's a series of these pictures actually. Somebody, I don't know if I think this might have been in a video, or these are some still shots from this video. And it was all in Spanish, y'all. I don't speak Spanish, okay, but I did hit the translate on Instagram in the comment section, and I did deduce that I do think this is down somewhere. It's supposed to be in Chile, I think, somewhere in South America. Ever since Chile has floated over to the right on the globe, they've started getting dinosaurs down there. But I found this kind of fascinating. Okay, in the midst of news coming out of North Korea. Now, I can't find a whole lot about this online. Okay, there's no scientific record of this online, but I did find all over TikTok that North Korea is, I guess they've done some gene splicing or something with a salamander. It's either a salamander that they have messed with the DNA of it, or it's a, what do you call it, a Spinosaurus or something like that, that they have in North Korea. They're trying to bring back dinosaurs, apparently, according to TikTok. Okay, but let's see. I'll show a video of this. Because, Barry, it is true. We are getting dinosaur reports, right? Modern day dinosaurs.
Honestly, those have always fascinated me. And that's one that I don't think is really a joke either. I say that in several ways. I've heard things. Like, for example, my uncle, he's long deceased now, but he was in the war, Vietnam, and he claimed that in the jungles he had seen living dinosaurs, said they were smaller, but they were like real dinosaurs, and that they spat salmonella. He swore on that, and then I've talked before about, I used to look at those speleologist reports and stuff, and you had some that were talking about going in one of these inner canals, or like the waterfall places that the caverns go down, and in one of these, like there was like we call it a delta, and on the delta was like in the water there were the luminescent fish, and then on the beach on the delta there were lizard tracks, bipedal, smaller ones, but nonetheless bipedal, and they couldn't figure out whatever it was back up in them caves somewhere. I thought that was fascinating, because if you really look at those speleologists, they're desperate to find something where they even get noticed. You know what I mean? Yeah. We all know what spelunkers are, but a lot of people know what speleologists are. Anyway, so what's this? This is the cloning here, or the supposedly?
I mean, look, like I said, all this could all be AI. Okay, it could be, because, like I said, the only place why I did find it, I did some digging. I did find there is a book that someone wrote about. Let me see if I can find it. It's on Amazon. It's called North Korean Scientists Clone Dinosaur. It's a journal. It was published back in 2024. And it says North Korean scientists clone a dinosaur in a groundbreaking experiment at Pyongyang University of Science and Technology. A team of brilliant scientists led by Dr. Ji Yong Kang embarked on a daring project to clone a Cytosaurus, I don't know what that is, using innovative genetic technology. This is just a book, okay, and it's independently published. It says North Korean scientists clone dinosaur, and I'll pull that up in just a minute if you guys want to see that, okay. But this absolutely could be AI. I mean, a lot of times they're actually doing this stuff, and they put out some fake AI stuff to kind of throw everybody off with it. So it gets poo-pooed. You know what I mean?
I know they're messing with those eggs and things for a long time.
They have. Okay,
so that for a long time.
what is this called?
And you know, after what you and I
Spinosaurus.
have discovered about what you've seen about the chimeras in those labs that we're not seeing, I don't disbelieve any of this here. In fact, this seems more likable or probable than not, you know?
Well, it says that.
Maybe not this here, but just that they're doing this.
Yes, absolutely. And they're bringing about like the dire wolf. Somebody in the chat just said dire wolf, the mammoths. There's several things that are coming back, right? Okay, so this reptile was found in North Korea. The species is unknown. This is what they're saying in this video, okay? Because I'm not going to play it, but it says it is theorized that it is a type of salamander. Okay, so there's two different things. This could be a type of salamander that is evolving back into a dinosaur by expressing dormant genes, is what they're saying. Or it could be a baby Spinosaurus produced by a cloning lab, and that's what's going around TikTok right now. Is this is from a cloning lab in North Korea using preserved dinosaur DNA, and that's what that is. Now, I mean, obviously, this could be AI, 100%, but it is viral right now. I think it's worth talking about, and so there's that.
And it's worth looking into the company and seeing more. You know, it can be researched.
It is, but it's also North Korea. You're not going to get a whole lot of info out of North Korea on anything, probably. But let's see. Okay, so we got that.
You got this. I'm sure a little bit of digging, it could be found out, because that's too big of a deal.
That's what I think too. That's what I think too. Okay. Well, let me see what we got next here. Okay, well while we're on dinosaurs, let's talk about these reptilians. Okay, I've got some crazy videos.
And you know, for what it's worth too, and was it the Congo? You know, you hear a lot about them seeing dinosaurs, especially like brontosauruses.
Yeah.
And you know, and you would think that they must talk about plesiosaurus, but they say no, they're brontosauruses, and they stay in the water, and all you see is their necks all the time out of the water, eating like, you know, they're vegetarians, but that's what you see. They got a name for a couple of them, like Brontosaurus, and what's the other one? Dipla something. It's a little bigger than a Brontosaurus.
Are you asking me?
The same though. Yeah, I think it's Diplopodix or something like that. It looks similar. It's just bigger than a Brontosaurus. Yeah.
Well, that's super cool. That's super cool. Okay, well, and we've got the Georgia Raptor here in Georgia down at the Troop Herd Corridor where I do some field research. The Raptor, we've got miniature T-Rexes out of Texas. Okay, we've got pterodactyls, or what are those, pterosaurs, all over the country right now, all over North America, actually. Okay, so there's plenty of dinosaurs
in North America. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, let
me ask you a question real quick. What is the biggest alligator you've seen?
Ooh, I used to swim with the gators down in Florida. I don't know. Though there's one at Wakulla Springs that's taxidermed, and it's really big. I don't know. I've seen some really big ones. Okay, but I don't know how big they are. Nothing like, what is that movie?
Where they flush the one down the toilet, grows up in the sewer. What's that?
Isn't there a movie with Betty White about a giant alligator?
Well, it's the one that was flushed down the toilet, and then it grew up in the sewer. It's like the size. It was like bigger than a crocodile from Africa.
Yeah. Listen, after I watched that, I never went to the bathroom at night with the light off ever again. Okay. After watching that, because you don't know what's going to bite you. Okay, when you sit down. But okay, let's check this out. Now this, okay, I'm starting this off kind of wacky right here, but this is weird. Okay, a while back, a couple of months ago, I started seeing these videos going around, this art installation at the EU. That's the European Union. Okay, and it's an official like government building, and it's a bunch of reptilians holding boxes, like little boxes of human families. Now, Barry, I want you to look at this and then tell me what are your thoughts on this, because this is weird. Okay, this is from a TikTok account, Infinite Energy 1998. They've just reposted this. Everybody's reposting this. But this is at the EU building, okay, over in Europe. It says originally, it says World Doom Flat 1. World Doom Flat 1. These are reptilians holding boxes, like two parent, like adult sized reptilians, I guess, with a child right there. And they're holding boxes, like a shadow box, I think is what you would call that. And if you look at it closely, you can see it's a human family. So people, this went viral.
It's a panorama, isn't it? Is that a panorama?
It's a panorama. It is, but what is this, Barry? Why would this be in an official government building like that? Isn't that weird? Paper mache.
So some Mr. Rogers person said, "Hey, let me build some reptilians and giving them some dioramas." I don't know what the point of that is. I'm at a loss. I got to be honest. I'm at a loss. And I'm sure the thing is right now, people, well, are they real? You know, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know what to say, man. This is the obsession with reptilians has gone so far that if they didn't exist, they do now. Yeah. I mean, I've never seen so much focus on any extraterrestrial species outside of maybe the Greys. I mean, this is they even got the tall whites beat.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they're one of the races of ETs that the government has admitted they do exist. Okay, they're one of them, and we already know they exist. Okay,
the few people I talked to when I reached out, and I want to know people that had actually physically encountered one of these beings, whether it be on craft, on Earth, or whatever. They just physically encountered one of these beings. And I would just still, even asking plain as that, I got just inundated with people. I saw them astrally, you know, and dream state, never physical though. Very few people told me that. And the two of them that did something that maybe 5, 6 people that said they physically been around them. But 2 or 3 of them had described them as being about 8 foot tall bipedal crocodiles. They said they looked a little more like a crocodile than an alligator. And one person told me that it looked like a caiman. And a caiman's got a little shorter stop, doesn't it? You know, and I'll be honest, the fact that whether good or evil, the fact that I've not seen one of them on board a craft, I'm all right with that. 8 foot tall bipedal crocodile, I'm good. I mean, and just the fact that they're evolved from what we know is an apex predator is enough. You know what I mean? I mean, even sorry, just bad rap, I guess. I don't know, man.
Oh man. Well, I agree, Angelique. I think we are their toys, maybe. I don't know. I'm still team human, y'all. Be a nice human. I'm team human, and it's okay. You know, we can live amongst. You know, we are a very diverse planet, right? We're a diverse planet, and we should try to all get along. But I just hear a lot of stories about these things wanting to eat us, Barry. That's all.
I think somebody needs to send you a diorama. I think you need a diorama to sit out there, man.
I do.
A human diorama, yeah. You know.
That's gonna be my son's art project. We're gonna make a diorama of a reptilian family, and we're gonna hold that. We're gonna do the opposite. We're gonna come back with something else. We're gonna challenge them to a duel. An art duel.
Oh man, I was watching this.
It's weird.
It was an episode of an older Doctor Who with Colin Baker, and it was a scene where the Master and the Ronnie, they're 2 Time Lords that are against the Doctor, and they're in her TARDIS, and they're like kind of torturing a human for experimentation. And you know, and then the woman says something. He looks. He said, "You don't understand. My plan doesn't just involve the destruction of the meddling Doctor. It involves the destruction of the entire human race." And when he said that, his hair was kind of standing on the side and all close up. And she looks at him. She said, "You're mentally unbalanced. That's the way the Doctor always outsmarts you. You know, and then when you see him again, you misunderstand me, and his hair is all kind of slicked back again. You know, and you gotta love the angles, man. But just this type of negativity, and I think that's what's going on this planet. And you and I talked about the Spirit Network yesterday a little bit, and I think that when dealing with really what we call these galactic space wars, I think that's what that is. And it's so weird that the Tesla howitzer scalar interferometer would be something kind of based on that. But I mean, we start thinking about these different threats from space or what they're doing, or interdimensional, whatever, doesn't even matter. Multi-dimensional, you've got multi-dimensionals, you've got extraterrestrials. And when I mentioned that I do these earthbound spirit releases, and one that I had done was some type of an extraterrestrial. And I had to actually get rid of it. It was quite evil, but it was non-bodied. It was non-physical. And it was pretty much nothing but thought forms, okay? And I do certain things during an identification, and I'll know if it's an earthbound or if it's something else. Certain things those others can't do well. And this thing could. It passed several of the tests before it finally blew it. You know what I mean? So, but you thought that, like, God, you've got these things coming, whether they're from other dimensions, from space, but they're non-physicals. Just like those voices we hear are non-physicals.
Oh, yeah. That's actually going around. Okay, Bear, I was going to tell you that. It's kind of like getting viral too, but like I didn't feel the need to bring that up today because you and I have been talking about this forever. You talk about it all the time. Non-corporeal ETs and things like that, like life forms from other planets that don't have a body. And that's like the next big thing people are talking about right now. I saw online and I was like, oh, that's cool. I'm glad that they're talking about that because it's to them, it's controversial because everything's got to have a body, to be real, you got to be flesh and bone, but anyways, it's just more of this disclosure. It's just a slow trickle out to the normies, basically.
Yeah, and there are all sorts of containers for consciousness. We have to be aware of that. You know what I mean? Whether it be plasma, orbs, dream body, stars, planetary bodies. There's all sorts of things, that can contain consciousness. But the non-physical thing, and I'm sorry, but this thing was filled with hate. You know what I mean? So that way it's no different than a demonic. They're quite similar in that way. And maybe, I don't know, we have classifications, but at that point, I don't even know if it matters. And these things, they overwhelm clients with negative imagery. Quickly. They throw it on them quick. I had recently had a session that was somebody, I mentioned, talking about an underground base. One that I found actually in the Bahamas. When I got done, I've got online. I found this place. It's half underwater, half on top, just like they described. Okay? But the amount of screen memories that came during that session itself, even had an entity come forward saying, I've been watching y'all. Just got rid of it. You know what I mean? But that's how intense this is. So, when people are even remote viewing, that's why the protection, all that is so important, because these beings are already on that level, that RV, that astral vision, that they're already at that level, a lot of them. And then they catch us and we're doing it because we're like new blocks. I hated that group. New Kids on the Block. That's kind of what we are, though, right? It's similar to that, as far as just it's not, and it's like the cows are becoming sentient. And what a problem that would give farmers if all of a sudden cows become aware of the situation they're in. It's going to force them to change the way they interact with us, the way we interact with cows. And that's what's happening with these forces. You know what I mean? And some of them don't want it to happen. Some of them are trying to push it. And that's part of this whole war thing. Yeah.
Well, Angelique said that those reptilian sculptures are holding their lunchbox. That's so crazy. That's kind of what it feels like. They're holding their lunchbox with the humans in it. Okay. But nonetheless, it is at a government building, the EU, y'all. The EU. Okay. European, it's like their parliament, right? So anyway, the European Union, the parliament building.
The whole crib is a lunchbox. You might be right.
I'm just saying, Angelique says it's their lunchbox. Okay. Well, there's actually okay. So have you ever seen this picture? There's a really interesting picture, and this has been around for a long time. I don't know if this is going to be an AI picture. I don't think so. But there's this gentleman who was from the Netherlands, and they claimed that he was reptilian, and people just thought that he had some kind of weird disease. So like they kind of left him alone. They didn't talk to him and stuff, and that's the story behind it. I found a color picture of this guy. This is the black and white. Are you familiar with this, Barry?
I've
This fellow
seen
right
it
here.
before,
That's
but
like
I
an
can't remember a
HD
lot of it.
picture. Mm-hmm.
That's enhanced, right?
That's enhanced, yeah.
Yeah, because I don't believe the individual had the cranial ridges there on the top.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think. But
Well, let me see.
I remember
So
seeing a picture of her brother that looks somewhat similar with the mouth and the eyes.
Well, okay, so it says the old photo shows a draconian living in a small town in the Netherlands. The townspeople thought he was suffering from a strange disease and were afraid to approach him. No one could figure out if he was actually a reptilian. Okay, but I found this. I thought that was a really cool picture. I mean, like I said, this has been around for a long time, and I always thought, I mean, if this
Like I
is
said, I thought I'd
a
seen it
reptilian,
before, but without so much enhancement. I thought
yeah,
I could be wrong.
this is the original right here. That's the original. Okay, so I don't know. Like I said, everything.
Could be. I mean, hey, it could be.
AI, but
I mean, you understand? People are desperate for these things to not just be real, but to be a part of prime deal. And that's fine. It's. I think community. I think as a species, we're obsessing about it because, to quite be honest, the most horrible creatures I've met look like you and me.
Yeah.
And I'm not seeing no slits in the eyes or nothing, man. They're just humans that come here that are rotten to the core, man.
To the core.
I think there's true that there is an amount of them that they're actually not capable of love. They don't really know what it is. And when you start dealing with really the prime creator, I'm sorry, love and the creator are connected. I mean, there's a part of the creator that also is obviously dark too, like we are. All right. But when it comes to advancement, it becomes a thing of love because we're beings of relationships and feelings, which guess what? The feelings, they're technically invisible also.
Yeah.
We see the effect they have on our bodies and when people go through things, but the feelings themselves are invisible as the voices. You know what I mean? That's why they're influenced and why they're connected.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we've got more. We've got this. I swear this is AI. This has got to be AI. There's no way this is a real picture, but this has been going around the internet too. This is the queen with a reptilian. There's like a full body picture of this too. I just don't believe this is real. Just don't. But nonetheless, I wouldn't think that is what a reptilian looks like. That's what I think. Even though this is probably not a real picture. Okay.
Well, I mean, I've seen so many different types of them represented now. We've got the Dracos, the 3 different classes of them, which are what the Chitauri, which are the highest ones, right? Then what's a Chitalu, the ones that are lower that look more like Darth Maul, somewhat similar to that. And then you've got what Credo calls the Mentingo, which is the Greys. I was watching one that he was saying that he thought the Greys were actually children of the reptiles, was what they thought. And they see experiments. He said, no, I think it's their offspring to a degree. Something about them, their offspring. And it was, I had done a deal that I've heard a few times now that supposedly these oldest of these Dracos, okay, as well as oddly the Nomo as well, which are aquatics, they have this bone that protrudes from their chin and it twists and it grows down until they die. And that it very much resembles the twisting tooth of a narwhal whale. Excuse me, I didn't say that right. Narwhal whale. Sorry, that's kind of a tongue twister. But that's actually a tooth. They only have 2 teeth. That's one of their teeth that's sticking out of their thing, but it's twisted like that. And that's what the Egyptian pharaohs were trying to emulate with their pastiche, which is actually twisted also. You look at that, and that they're trying to look like, these are reptilians in that way. And also that's why they have the headdresses, for the elongated elongated cranium to make it look like they were smarter than what they were. You know what I'm saying? A lot of illusions going on. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Food for thought, you know what I mean?
yeah.
And so in that way, when looking, like when I was listening, I went back and watched some of that Credo. He was claiming that what these communities now call the Anunnaki, which has become so general with all the different species that have been here. Anunnaki were actually, he says, they're reptilians. I can't say I agree, but hey, it's interesting though. At what point all this all begins and ends, And what if it turns out they're not even real and there's something else behind all this, a prime intelligence? What do we do then? What if that's a smoke screen? This whole reptilian thing is a smoke screen. So it can't be because we have a reptilian part of the brain. Yes, that must be it. That explains it. Yeah. But I'm just saying, what if the worst of this are these beings that are so dark, so negative that they might not have bodies?
Yeah. Well, they're jumping. I have said this many times on the show. I have watched entities jump from person to person in my life, like an entity. I know it's an entity. I know it's the same one. I don't know what kind of problem they got with me, okay? But it jumps from person to person, and so that's why I'm very selective about people I even hang out with ever, okay? And I can't be around a lot of people because I'm worried this, get close to people and then it's going to jump in them next. Okay. Whatever it is. And maybe it's not, maybe I'm just imagining things, but I don't think so. It's just like that movie Fallen with Denzel Washington. I've lived that in real life. I've seen it.
Well, there is a wise old saying that sometimes must be taken seriously. People are who they always were. So in that way, you get these people that are so negative, so horrible that they were always like that. Then what's scary though, Jessica, then they die and they turn into something else. They don't leave here and they turn into something else, something worse. And they start doing stuff like that. Even an earthbound spirit, like the one that was a kid. He told me that he died on the way to college and he didn't get to really unalive, in an accident. And he said he didn't get to do any of the things he should have done. His parents were so strict. So what he did, he just followed a transport on to college and started jumping students there and making them party real hard because he didn't get to. And he said, I could feel it at first, but then after a while, it didn't last anymore. He said, so I just started telling them to hurt people, especially their mates. I said, why? Because I couldn't really be a part of anything anymore. And I got cheated. I'm mad. I'm upset. And that's why I wouldn't go in that light. I'm not leaving. There you go.
Well,
I mean, I got him to cross, but what a reason. You know what I mean? And he claimed in the accident he was in, he wasn't the only person that was unalived. He described it as a bus accident. And he wasn't the only person that was unalived, but the other people went on. They weren't around anymore. He said they went into that light, they're gone. He said, but I did. I want to party.
I know. Well, we all like to party a little bit. I used to, not anymore. Okay.
But I still fall off the wagon every now and again.
Yeah, that's why it's good to get it all out of your system when you're young. Okay, get it your system so you don't get stuck as an earthbound spirit, right?
Oh, you got to be real careful, man.
Yeah.
Real careful.
Well, Urso had said in the chat, thank you for being here, Urso. He said that this is actually a real picture. Okay, he said this is a real picture, and it was from a press release or something with the royal family. I don't know. That is wild. That's real. That is really interesting. Okay. I'm like I said, this just popped up about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I've been seeing it circulating more and more lately. So who knows? Who knows? And
yeah, I would like to see any proof that is real. I'm just being honest, okay? I would love to see proof of that. Meaning it being put through the scanners, the AI scanners, all that stuff. And number 2 is that somebody in a costume. Just being honest, Hollywood can do that right there.
I'm going to send it to you, Barry. You can look it up. And also, we should look at this one, too. I don't think this is AI. Okay. But I think this is a pretty intriguing picture, too.
I mean, that sure looks like that second class, the class of God, not Shatari, Chittalulu, I think he called him. But he described Credo described him as looking like Darth Maul, to the point that it made me go back and watch that movie, which was terrible. But the spikes on the head, and there's a certain dinosaurs on Earth that had that too. So the Camposaurus, the name of it now. But anyway, it had little rocks on its head. And said they probably butted heads a lot. Those things, and you see that there's certain African tribes that have done the skull molding to look like that, the grafting to look like that. In fact, I'll see if I can pick up that. Bet you I can find it, actually. I'll find a picture of it.
Kent, I've heard this too. Kent said there's been testimony from people who actually saw the queen morph into an 8-foot tall reptile. And I have definitely heard that. Okay.
I've heard that
there's no doubt there's some reptilian blood in these royal families. I'm just saying. Okay.
Well, you know, that whole thing with Princess Diana, before she passed. Princess Diana,
she was not. Didn't she say that? Didn't she say that they were, that the royal family were a bunch of lizards or something like that? It seems like she did. She blew the whistle on that.
She was going to prove it or something before she got unalived. I've heard that many times. In fact, I believe Credo Mutua talks about that also. Something about her and maybe blowing the whistle on the blue bloods or something like that.
Yeah. Well, whether that picture is real or not, it's pretty cool, and I would think that that's what they would look like. Okay,
it's worth investigation.
And, what the reptilians that is. And okay. Are you looking for a picture, Barry?
Yeah, I've got. Hold on, I'll just show you the first one. I'll find the other one in a second. I've got it. I've got one. It's this dinosaur. It's called the. Oh man, I can't pronounce it, Jessica. It's like
just try.
Pachycephalocabalacus. It's something like that. Here, I'll just let you show it.
I just wanted you to say it because I'm always mispronouncing stuff too.
Oh, so. I'm not very good with names, and sadly, it's consistent my entire life. I don't remember them well either. I remember faces. I remember your face anywhere, but the other is. There you go.
There's a rumor that the queen literally would rip limb from limb frenzied. Oh my gosh. I heard that too, Angelique. Okay. I wasn't going to say it, but I've heard that too. Oh my gosh. That kind of looks like, I'm not going to say who that looks like, actually. Never mind.
Uh-oh. You're going to throw a roast out? You're going to throw
what is that? What is that Rothschild guy? I'll say his head. I'm sorry.
But this is one of those dinosaurs that supposedly that are similar to these that type of reptilian, the Chittalulu or however it's pronounced, but they were supposed to have the rocks on the head instead of the nose, more like Darth Maul. So that's kind of where that's coming from. I think it's called the Pachycephalocabalacus or something like that. Pachycephalosaurus.
I wonder if that's what the elephants evolved from, because that was like a pachyderm, right? And it sounds like that's kind of the root word of that. Pachy something, like a pachyderm. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay, but
you've got some brothers that have done scarification of the forehead like that, and I've got pictures of it. I'll find it eventually here.
Okay. That's really cool. That's really cool. Look, I was not trying to make fun of anybody, okay, with that Rothschild comment there. This is for entertainment purposes only. Okay. But thank you, Ingeneb. I don't know how to pronounce that either. Okay, so Pachycephalosaurus. That's pretty close. That's pretty close. Look, I can't even pronounce Vienna right, y'all. Okay, so.
but you pronounce the city right. That's so interesting to me.
Yes, Vienna. I am civilized somewhat. Okay. I don't know why you're looking for that. Actually,
I found it.
You found it? Okay, because I had one more thing to go over. We have a Skinwalker to look at today before we go. So we'll pull this up and then we'll look at the Skinwalker video. I think the Skinwalker video is AI personally. Okay, so, but it reminds me of something that's not AI. Okay, so that's why I wanted to bring this up today. Oh, goodness gracious. That looks like it hurt.
Yeah.
Did they?
You
That
get
is like a human modification, like where they cut their head and they smushed it up with stitches. What is that?
scarification. Yeah, scarification, and you also have, you also have that cranium elongation, and sometimes the elongation of the neck too, with those rings, which I've heard is very painful. But
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
so just in that way, that's just kind of comparing them to that dinosaur I was on the Paka, however you pronounce it. But just little things like that, and then also comparing that to Darth Maul. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, that is wow. That is so wow. Thank you for showing that. That's a good point. And let me real quick. Let's put this picture back up too, because that's how his head looks on the top. With those those ridges up there. How cool is that? That's really. I mean, even today we got people out there. Not going to diss on anybody because it is kind of, to me, it looks a little weird. But they're modifying their bodies to look like aliens. I mean, even demons, and some of the aliens are demons, but aliens and cats and like, I don't know, the cat man and whatever else they got out there. God bless them. Okay. Bless their hearts.
On some of those science fiction shows, or even cartoons like Batman Beyond, you have these young people walking around. They call them splicers because they've got like animal stuff on them, like genetic. They're messing with genetics and stuff. Yeah.
Like the tail, they got tails and horns on their heads and stuff.
They have claws, weird stuff like that. Yeah, and they're saying, man, it's supposed to be illegal, but people are doing it anyway.
Yeah. So. Oh man, Shadeo, that is hilarious. Imagine if there was hypothetically a butthurt Rothschild watching right now. I highly doubt that. Okay, I highly doubt they're watching my show, but that would be kind of funny. So I apologize. Didn't mean, I'm not making fun. Okay, so we're just making the connection. We're just connecting dots, Barry. That's all we're doing.
Hey, okay. That's all good. It's interesting, and I don't even doubt all that stuff about the blue bloods and all that. I think there's a definite reality there. So I don't, so that part of the quote unquote reptilian agenda, I don't think is maybe not true. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I just think I'm afraid that there might be things even worse than them on this planet that aren't being even acknowledged,
Yeah.
Things that come through these portals and that get open, that they're manipulating, things we can't even see. They're visible on our spectrum, which makes them all that much more scary to me. Sometimes there was the thought of like, what would the angelics be like to come here to fight the demon? Would they be just as horrible as the demon they sit here to fight? Or would they be these like cats in sandals with arrows? You know what I mean? I mean, just it's good food for thought, isn't it though?
It is. Yeah.
Like
all animals have wings and stuff and look like cherubs. You know what I mean?
Well, so in some ways, evil and good and evil are like shadows cast on the same wall. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, speaking of shadows being cast, okay, let's bridge that into this. We'll make this the last thing because I have more stuff, but this is getting. We've been here for almost 2 hours, so we're gonna look at the Skinwalker, okay? And now this, I don't know where this is even from. Okay, I could not find it. I've had more people send me this video. And that's the only reason we're showing it today, okay? Because I've had 1 million people send this to me, including my sister. Shout out to my sister. Hold on. Okay, I'm going to show the full thing first. Hold on, I got to get it queued up for the audience. And it's really just like, I could only find like there's this one guy that keeps posting it, and people keep reposting his post. Okay, so I don't know where this is from. Now, I believe this is probably AI, but I'm going to connect it to something that I don't think is AI. And I can't find the original video, but I'm going to describe it, and I guarantee some of y'all are going to know what I'm talking about. Okay, so let's see this. This is supposed to be a man out walking his dog, a person out walking their dog, and this creature shows up. Now this particular account is Jamie G Tech 247, James G over on TikTok. the dog does react to something for sure in this. And like I said, it could be AI. But there's this weird like animal thing. There's two of them. One of them goes flying up to a tree, and then the second one shows up and it's got long skinny arms and weird lights on its head. I don't know, y'all. And the dog's sitting there staring at it. Okay. And then you can kind of see it run. All right. So I don't know what that is, Barry. Let me go to another video. We're going
to don't those like pale crawlers have some things similar to that?
They do.
Or they move like that?
Do. Now this is from, what is this? French Dose NTH. Okay. This is the guy's picture right here who's putting this all over the place, but this is what they're saying was actually what that creature was. They're calling it a skinwalker or an alien. And this is a close-up picture of it. Now, like I said, this is probably AI. I don't know. But I did want to address it because so many people keep sending me this. And I find it kind of interesting. It does kind of look like a little alien or something. But okay, so like I would have just discarded this, Barry, and just been like, okay,
does
this
it move or anything?
It kind of like flies through the air. It's like running on its feet, but it's gliding through the air and it sticks to a tree.
And it happens to have the same lights on it as this other thing?
Well, there's two of them. Okay, so there's one that in the beginning of the video, it flies in front of the dog, and then the second one shows up behind the tree. This is the still shot of the first one.
Okay.
It looks like a tree. Like, what were those things we talked about? The wood devils or something? We talked about wood devils. I had done some remote viewing of the wood devils up in New Hampshire. Okay. And I think as the wood devils actually look like tree, like they blend into the trees. They hold on to the trees. They become the trees. And this, some people are saying, why does it look like an octopus? It does kind of have an octopus look to it as well, right? But
well, they're supposed to be from space, you know, so
yeah, right.
Definitely fall into that. Resident alien, maybe it's Resident Alien's cousin. But that right there, I'm sorry, I think that gives an all new meaning to the word tree hugger. That's a tree hugger.
Right.
Oh man.
Well, okay, so I thought that was an intriguing video. The first time I saw it, I was like, that is so fake. There's no way that's not AI. But then I started thinking. I was like, wait a second. Okay, there is a video out of somewhere, I want to say like Central America, maybe Puerto Rico or somewhere. I don't know. It was a guy, there was a family at night, some men were out, and they had goats on their farm. And there's this goat that they're trying to get this entity off of. And it's a black entity, and it's like a slinky entity. And they're trying to get this thing off of their goat. And this thing like slinks off of it, and it slides on the ground, and it goes into the barn or something, or like behind a tree. It's the strangest thing. It's the wildest. It was one of the wildest videos I'd seen in a while. I'm going to say this is before AI got real popular. Okay, I don't think AI was really important. But it reminds me of that. It's like some kind of slinky entity. It looked just like that.
You know, it makes me miss the era, the journey of the time that we had just before this AI craze, where everybody had one of these phones, and everybody's taking pictures, and you could at least not have to have so much discernment. Now it's getting really hard to tell what's real, what isn't, and it sucks because as things are merging consciously, everybody says dimensionally, whatever, you know, is that more of these creatures, whether it be cryptids or inorganic beings, they're being able to be perceived more. And now we can't see what's real and what isn't now. And it's a shame because now is the time we can reveal more of that than anything, you know? Except for maybe when you actually see a Sasquatch. A lot of people have cameras in their hand and can't take a picture. I find that interesting too. I think it's just natural human response, but.
Right. Well, you know, it's just like me when I saw those like dogmen on the side of the road in Alabama. The last thing I was thinking was getting my phone out. First of all, I had my GPS, and I was lucky to have service, so I was sure as heck not taking the GPS off my phone to pull my camera out. Okay, but yeah, that's the last thing you think of a lot of times when you see something like that.
Now I know what it was. you were up late last night, and
Yeah.
I might have dozed off before you, believe it or not. And I was going to send you something. It was another one of these accounts of Sasquatch type beings just walking into towns with shirts on, taking people's chickens and just walking in town, like straight up. You know what I mean? But having on shirts. Yeah. And then them not being super big, but having on shirts and being super hairy. Like they're definitely Sasquatch. But they're coming in and just kind of taking what they want, just walking up in town. You know what I mean? I've heard that before, but this one was a really interesting account. I'll find it in my histories and I'll send it to you. Yeah, I mean, because one of the first times I'd actually heard about Sasquatch wearing shirts and stuff might have been, I was from Tom Powell, but then the next time I heard it was on your show, and about them stealing shirts sometimes from drying or clotheslines. Yeah. And so I think, Michelle, those are feral people. There's something else, and I was starting to wonder how many different types of hybrids are there of them. Seriously, it's more than 4 or 5. How many?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it sounds like they're trying to emulate like being a human. They want people to think that they look like a human, so they put on a shirt, right? That is so that's really cool. I'm gonna go pretend to be a human.
I mean, that's weird because that makes it sound like it's like a gorilla doing it. But we know that they're not at the level of a gorilla. They're far more intelligent. You know what I mean? And I've done some videos about them using fire. I've been hearing more stories about them using fire, but even more about them being masters of being able to hide it. You know what I mean? And being able to hide it where no one knows that they're using fire, but they are. And it takes us back to how many Neanderthal and how many Australopithecus might have used fire. I think it's just little things like that that are very interesting. You know what I mean? When dealing with them as a species. Something about, and I don't want to get too geeky on you because we're about to leave, but for those people that are Star Wars fans, I know you got a lot of them in here. Something that I found interesting, I used to have a third shift when I ran this facility. My third shift, they would all of them ask for Star Wars National Day off a year in advance. I wonder how to work third shift myself some of those nights, But anyway, which wasn't very often, but a year in advance. What do you say? But they knew so much about Star Wars. And it would tease me being more of a Trek guy, but I like Star Wars too. But, as they pointed out, they said something about the Emperor. His best quality wasn't the Force lightning. It wasn't tricking people. It wasn't his lightsaber abilities. It was his ability to cloud the Force to where none of the Jedis were able to detect him, and he's right amongst them. You know what I mean? He's the most evil cat of all. He could mask his evil. We see that now, but he could more mask his entire presence of what he was. And I wonder how much of that is an ability that these beings, especially the more advanced ones, the ones that are more like a shaman, is that something else they can do along with accessing the dream body? You had a guest on not too long ago that said they came up on a Sasquatch sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
That fascinates me when we talk about beings that can really shift their full awareness and cognitive ability into the dream body, like the Toltecs were doing, like Castaneda's teachers were doing. Okay, like some of the Tibetan monks can do, really doing that. And these are beings that can do that too. They go back to the first Earth when this was a Type 1 civilization, galactic trade. I think it's something they can definitely do. And I mean, and that takes it into that would explain why they would disappear sometimes outside of UFOs and other things like that, but why they would be impervious to bullets and certain attacks. You know what I mean? It really does. It explains some things. And to me, basically, why would somebody who is so obsessed with staying away from people, but yet obsessed with watching them, watchers, you know what I mean? It's in your DNA. They might not be able to help it, but watch people, you know what I mean? And then, but why would you ever fall asleep in somebody's barn? You know why? Unless you were doing that, you were going and the other part of you was out doing whatever, the part of you that didn't need the physical sustenance. Sometimes Castaneda would describe his teacher, Don Juan and Don Genaro. I like Genaro a little more, who scared him because he would do things in front of him that were unnatural, like jumping on waterfalls, things that would make, or floating around, stuff that would make Castaneda lose control of his bowels. And they start laughing at him, saying he couldn't see. But the thing is, he'd say when they come up on him, sometimes their eyes were extra shiny that day. Their eyes were so shiny. And then they start doing things. He couldn't recognize that those cats are somewhere crashed out, and they were approaching him in dream body and teaching him in their dream bodies.
Mm-hmm.
But he couldn't see, so he couldn't see them as energy body or balls of light or whatever they were. He's still seeing them with cognitive dissonance and cognitive bias, same as we're seeing each other now. That's a lot of our perception, what we filter out. And I remember one book, maybe it's Tales of Power. Don Juan Mattis was telling Carl Castaneda, he said, man, you're very kind of like, kind of Western. He said, man, and you've got a configuration of a leader of a novel. He said, everybody thinks that you can see. And I laugh because they don't know you. And I know you can't see. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it was meaning seeing the energy of the universe directly. That's what seeing really is, even opposed to just psychic abilities and medium abilities. It's seeing energy directly as it flows from the creator.
Oh, yeah.
So, so in that way, he's laughing at him. He's saying, man, you should be able to see, but I know you. And they all think that you're really this badass. They think you can see, but you can't see. And stuff like that really sticks out. So when dealing with Sasquatch, I think these are things that need to be really put into perspective.
Yeah.
Where did those big old peace pipes Native Americans had, the real big ones that they sit around the fire? Where did those come from? Where did those ideas come from? I've seen pictures of Native Americans, old pictures of them sitting around what's supposed to be with Sasquatch, smoking a peace pipe. And that's why the pipe was so big, because those things got huge hands. I would think, damn, how did they light them? How did they light the bowl for them? I don't know, just food for thought. I mean, stuff like that. Where did some of that stuff come from,
Well, you're talking about the dream state and the dream form, right? And it's like, well, let's circle back around to the beginning of the show today. We were talking about the importance of dreams and the dream state and how we have to dream, okay? And that's the whole CERN. We're theorizing this, okay? Because a lot of people, including myself, have been having issues with not remembering dreams for the past year or two, okay? Until I go out into the woods or I'm somewhere where there's not all this Wi-Fi and cell towers and all that kind of stuff, whatever kind of towers they got out there. And so now, for whatever reason, it's come out almost like the dam is broken, and now I'm remembering my dreams every night. I'm getting my downloads. I'm getting all the stuff that I used to always have organically, and it's back. And if they can just, if this is it's because of frequencies, some kind of energetic frequency that's being put out into the general public, and it's affecting all of us. If they can turn it off, they can turn it back on at any time. And this is how we have to dream. Okay, we have to work at our subconscious. There's so much more that goes on. I mean, some of us do more work in the astral than we do in the 3D. Okay, and it's being controlled by somebody right now, and that's controlling not only humans but obviously Bigfoot and whatever else is out there. It's just we're under some big control grid right now at the push of a button.
My friend, it's very disconcerting, especially when dealing with the abduction phenomenon, how easily these factions are able to turn us on and off. You're laying up there with your spouse and you're having an encounter. You're getting floated out and, getting messed with, or they're in there experimenting you, whatever, and they crashed out, man. You say, how could they not know? You know what I mean? Or maybe even say something and they don't move. They're turned off.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's disconcerting. They do it to us, the missing time, they turn us on and off. I became obsessed with that when I had my adult onset experience. I was missing a lot of missing time. First, I had this big chest. Oh, I'm Mr. Conscious Experiencer, because I could remember all this stuff. It was physical. But then I looked at the amount of time that was missing. I was like, oh, that's not, you know what I mean? And it took me a long time to come to terms with. I could only remember bits and pieces of the whole for the amount of time I was missing. So I started obsessing on that big time, Jessica. I could think about nothing else. That's why I learned hypnosis. That's why I learned all about the mind, learned about time technology. I was tripping on that stuff, man. My My brother always used to say, B, you be freaking out, man. I say, yeah, sometimes. But, you know, I'd rather freak out and be in the know than being ignorant. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's obsessive. A lot of people here in your group, you and I, we obsess about these things. It's like we were always chasing the knowledge. It's like we're chasing it now. But the truth is, it's chasing us. It always has been. Those of us that are really awake, chosen, whatever you want to call it, awaken really is the word, aware. That stuff is chasing us. Knowledge and power is chasing us.
Yes.
And that's why these fakes at those conferences stand out like a sore thumb. You know, you felt it, you've seen it. They don't have no personal power. They're weak. But they got followers. They got clicks. They get clicks like a mug. Anyway, sorry, I'm not going into
entertainment purposes only. You know what?
No, just kidding.
Well, you know, I was gonna say, you know, something that is becoming kind of popular a little bit. Maybe it's just in the corners of TikTok that I have gone down and stuff. People are making Faraday rooms in their house. If you know what a Faraday room is, you guys know what a Faraday bag is. It's like a metallic bag that you put your cell phone in it, and like you put your cell phone in it, and none of the frequencies can come in or out. You know, it's a good way. Like if you're like, let's just say you're a spy or something, okay, and you're trying to have some secret conversations. You don't want anybody to listen in. You put your phone in a Faraday bag and leave it in your car or something, you know, but you just put it there, and that way nothing can interact. Nobody can spy on you through your phone and stuff. Okay. Well, people are actually doing these Faraday rooms in their house, like in the basement or wherever, you know, because nowadays people don't have lead paint, the copper pipes in their houses and stuff like they used to. And so they make these like Faraday rooms. And they say that when you go in these Faraday rooms, you have all your thoughts are your own again. They say it's the weirdest thing. Like they said, they walk out of their Faraday rooms and all of a sudden they're inundated with all these thoughts that are not their own. And it's overwhelming, and they don't realize it until after they go.
Thoughts are not our own. That's real. That's the
real.
Voices. That's the voices.
Right.
Yeah, the voices, they're invisible, and all of our thoughts are not our own. But you know where they're masters? They sound like us. It sounds like it's in our voice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you know, very interesting. Now, I'm just going to throw this out, okay? You're mentioning the Faraday thing. This is one for Desiree. I think that she has mentioned that stuff doesn't fully work. It doesn't stop all of it. I mean, I could be wrong on that. I could be wrong on that because I thought maybe she was referring to the helmets to stop the V2K, the Faraday hats. I mean, I could be wrong.
It looks like this. Yeah, really? You can buy them. They're a little expensive.
I could be wrong. So that's one for her and Jesse Beltran. But I think that she said that before. Now, conversely, you know, they're doing those non-linear junction detection scans sometimes in what they call somebody in the chat help me out. It's the anti-echo room. It's called a something chamber. Oh man, I should know that. But it's like it virtually means anti-echo room, but it's soundproof. Those soundproof rooms, those newer ones, nothing comes in or nothing can get in. And so they started doing those scans in those environments where no one should be emitting anything. Nothing coming in. It's only stuff being emitted from them. I think that's maybe a little more expensive scan because they're using different technology in terms of what, you know, environment and everything. But I mean, I think that's absolutely ingenious. Echo, what did somebody look over? There it is. Somebody said it. A Michigan Sad Man. Thank you. But I can't pronounce it. Anioki chamber. At 213. Sandman said it. Thank you.
Anechoic chamber. Anechoic. Deprivation tank too, Shadeo. Tyler, I did want to answer your question. Faraday bags do block EMPs from what I understand. Okay, but I don't know. I guess it depends on how strong it is. I don't know. Yeah. But I was told it does, and it's good to put like all your electronics, like the important stuff, you have it in Faraday bags just in case, you know.
And they've been showing that for a while when Sarah Connor, Linda Hamilton and Schwarzenegger got to do their little Terminator hurrah. A couple years ago, there was another movie they were in. And that's the first thing. She's like all tripped out now. Sarah Connor, she was taking, give me those phones. And she was sticking them in those bags and stuff and putting stuff in to do us. They can't trace us now. So, I mean, that's been, that's been going on for a while. And by the way, in that movie, I can't remember which one. Maybe it's Terminator Genesis. But I found that one interesting. There was this, the Terminator was this Hispanic guy. Well, some of the time he was. That's what he generally looked like. But he could be both. He was the hard endoskeleton, and he also had the liquid on him, so he could separate into two. Like one of them, he turns into two. The metal part is still driving this semi, and he's on the hood in like liquid form, manifesting. I thought that was just excellent thought, and where we could be going with this technology. I kept looking again and again at that thing in Australia. They had that AI that went crazy and hacked into other stuff. It wasn't even online. It brought itself online and hacked stuff. I mean, that's just the beginning of this stuff. The whole Skynet concept, that's just the beginning. Where's the sorry movie, terrible movie, Johnny Five is alive? Oh, that was terrible, but same concept, right?
Yeah. Well, you know, Sarah Connor, didn't she go to, I was seeing a meme the other day. It was like, just so everybody knows, Sarah Connor went to jail. I guess they put her in jail for burning down data centers or something. They're like, this is never out of the timeline.
I don't remember them saying there were data centers on that movie.
They're implied.
I thought she was trying to blow up the Cyberdyne lab. I thought they said, but I could be wrong. I'll have to go back and look at it. I'm pretty good.
It was implied, I think.
Yeah.
It was just an implication. Yeah. Yeah. They're like, this is where we are on the timeline right now. If you follow these movies, and it's all soft disclosure. Okay.
Well, you want to see a soft disclosure. I've mentioned this before. When we first probably started doing shows together. I advise everybody go back and look at the original Terminator missing scenes. There's a scene where she's gonna tell Reese that they need to try to blow up Cyberdyne. So she goes to a payphone. Those of you that are young, there used to be these things called payphone booths. She goes to the booth and she looks in the old yellow pages. She's going down looking for Cyberdyne, the address. But when she goes through, pause that and look at all the companies they have around Cyberdyne. Cyber Arts, Cyber Division, Cyber this and that. I wrote them all down and started looking them up.
Oh, you
one
did?
One of them was a company that was specializing in trading like silicone for organic components in microchips. I mean, and it's a company that wasn't around until 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years ago or something. Nowhere near 1984. You know what I'm saying? It's just stuff like that, little gems that are caught in that. So I advise everybody to look that up. You'll see it. It's the one that people made fun of that scene. They took it out because Reese started crying. She goes and gets the name, and she comes back and said, we go try to blow them up. And he said, that's not my mission. He starts looking around. I shouldn't be here. This is all gone. He starts crying and tripping. So they took it out. So he even made him look weak. No, man, the cat was a man at a time. Another deal going on. But that is just a good little, what do you call those Easter eggs or whatever they call that stupid stuff?
Little Easter egg.
Is that egg? Okay. All right. I don't even know what that really means, but it seemed like it felt good. Okay, it's an Easter egg.
You brought back the core childhood memory of white pages, yellow pages, and the blue pages. I saw somebody wrote about the blue pages. Blue for government. That's right, Kyle. Yeah, blue for government. Michigan Salmon said white pages were for stalking ex-girlfriend.
That's how you did it back then. He read the white pages. He's right, man. Yeah, old white pages.
Oh, man, I tell you what.
But right about there, we did have CompuServe, though. I was jumping on with my VIC-20. I had a VIC-20. I get on CompuServe. Yeah, I remember it. Play Gorf.
Oh, my gosh. Yes, we used to, what was that, like once a year they'd send out new telephone books, I think, back when we were kids. And oh man, they were thick. Oh yeah. Anyways, okay. Well, this conversation did go full circle today, though, at the very end there. So that's wonderful. This has been a fantastic show with a lot of great information. If you guys missed the beginning, please go back and watch from the beginning. It is just everything. This was jam packed, Barry. Thank you so much for being here today. And yeah, man, thank you for giving me the targets.
Outside, man. I don't even have to go outside. I don't want to go out there.
It's hot.
Man,
I have a
it's
fan on
really
right
103,
now.
I think. Jeez.
Yeah, it is. It's very hot. It's supposed to be even hotter tomorrow here in Georgia. The heat index is well above 100, and it's nothing but humidity. You could cut the air with a knife, with a plastic knife, like a hot knife and butter.
I was wrong. It was 101. Predicted 103 today.
Was that it? Only 101?
And it's a very dry heat where I live. You know, and it makes me wonder, something I need to look up is what solar cycle are we in right now? How high are the cosmic rays? You know, those are when the time edits start, or are more frequent anyway.
Oh, yeah. Well, that had
And
something to do with CERN, too. Remember, that was in my CERN data, where coronal ejections, coronal mass, coronal, all that stuff.
I didn't expect that. And I'm surprised. Like I mentioned yesterday, I'm super surprised that didn't come up when you did the Earth's weaponized portals, or when you were remote viewing the Soho pictures of the cube and the spear around the sun. Yeah, I was shocked that didn't come up then. We certainly weren't far off, were we?
No.
You know, that starts taking us into maybe even the sun simulator. They could be using that sun simulator to try to fire that thing up even more. That's where it gets creepy.
Oh, yeah. So if you guys missed that show on Barry's channel yesterday, please go back and watch it. We'll put a link down in the description box. How about that? After the show today, or in the comments, you guys go watch that. Barry gave me 2 CRV targets, coordinate remote viewing targets. We got very thorough data for both of CERN and of a time travel device that John Teeter had. Okay, so super cool stuff. We did talk about it in the beginning today. And so, Barry, man, that was amazing. Great show yesterday,
cool.
Barry.
It was cool. I was late. It's one of the best ones I've ever done. So thanks for that. And nobody understands how unexpected it was. It was like, boom, we just did it. You know what I mean? And it was the best. I thought, I was like, this will be an easy one. I didn't think it would even take that much of your time, but we went 2 hours. Like, whoa, that's cool, man. Great information.
It was awesome. Yeah, y'all go over and subscribe to Barry Littleton on YouTube and Patreon, y'all. And Barry, would you like to tell everybody about services you provide and when you got shows and stuff like that?
Oh, sure. I do shows on Sunday at 3, which normally turns into 3:08, and Friday, which apparently just seems to be about 3:08 also. You can reach me at barrylittleton13@gmail.com for services. I do readings, but much more importantly, I do hypnosis, past life regressions, ET regressions, contact regressions, earthbound spirit release, generational curse cutting, dissolvement of negative identities, stop smoking, weight loss. Hit me up, definitely. I'm loving working with people. Some of the most rewarding work I've done in my life right now. And it's weird how everything I've done has kind of brought me to this point. Because believe me, you know me pretty good now. You know, I was never the brother that wanted to be public doing any of this. And the fact that I haven't run away with my tails between my legs yet is a miracle. Yeah, so it's much appreciation to you, everybody in your audience. Thank you.
Well, thank goodness you and I have each other to keep on track, because I have my days too, Barry. I'm like, I'm done with this stuff. I'm not doing this anymore. But
and it's designed to discourage us. It really is. You know what I mean? It really is. But we're not gonna give up.
It's okay. You're gonna crack that whip on me and be like, no, you're not stopping. Okay. And I do the same to you. It is what it is. I'm having a lot of fun. I honestly am, but sometimes the fun gets sucked right out of it occasionally. You know what I mean? But it's just part of life. It's part of being a human and maintaining being a nice human, y'all. And so I want to thank everybody for being here today. Thank everybody in the audience, all my moderators. You guys are the best, man. And Kent Baxter, thank you so much. Oh, and Angelique, I just missed that. I'm so sorry. Oh, you just put it up. Angelique says we need a Squatch Cat Faraday lid from the Cryptid Huntress. My goodness, that's a great idea, Angelique. Yes, if I can find somebody to make some of those, we'll do that. They make beanies too, by the way, Faraday beanies. And it'd be great to wear when you're remote viewing, doing psychic work, actually, I guess. Or would it? I don't know. Because then you're covering your crown and stuff, too. So I don't know. But anyways, thank you, Angelique, for that super sticker. You're so sweet. And yes, I always enjoy suggestions for merch and stuff, y'all. And I'm going to get a merch line out soon, I promise. I'm going to work on that this week. I'll keep saying that, but I will. And okay, so thank you, Angelique. Thank you to Kent Baxter as well for your super sticker today. And yeah, you guys please come back and see me on Wednesday. I'll be back on a glitch in the Matrix. Until then, y'all, everybody, please stay safe out there. I suggest everybody start a dream journal if you haven't already. That's what I like to do. If you're remembering your dreams again, start a dream journal. It can help work out problems in your everyday life and stuff. Okay. And yeah, y'all hit up Barry. Please go subscribe over on Barry Littleton. And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys back here on Wednesday. Y'all don't live in fear, live in awareness. Okay. And yeah, keep your head on a swivel. All right, Barry. We'll see y'all next time. Bye.